Salutations, Rupup, and welcome to Chapter 27, the second to last chapter of Sorry, Wrong Number by ShizunaRey. As always, the link to the fic will be in the description below. And with that out of the way, let's jump on into it. Chapter 27, No Beta We Die Like Moon Knight? Author's Notes. Emerging out of the maintenance with the new chapter, hope everyone made it through okay. Falcon! Mark shouted over the chaos. Try to get a view of any remaining civilians. Spidey will help evacuate. Both heroes shouted their affirmation into the comms and went about their way. Layla quickly covered their place. Mark, I can track the air displacement when they move fast. Not perfect, but I can mark them. Do it, Mark said instantly. You're my second set of eyes. Always Sam. Falcon and Spider-Man streaked overhead, Sam's wings clipping one jackal mid-lunge while Spidey webbed another to a street lamp. Mark quickly turned around to dodge some stray rubble that was coming his way. God, your wife is so badass, Mooney! Stark chimed in beside him and fired a shot in the direction the rubble had come from. Of course she is! Little more to the left. Stark adjusted his glove and fired another shot into the jackal's side. There was a loud whimper and then sand falling down where the invisible monster had stood just moments before. An arrow flew past Mark's head, and where it hit, colorful paint exploded everywhere. Nice shot, Clint, Mark said without turning. You tagged one. Don't stop firing. Already lining up another, Hawkeye replied over comms. Paint sticking. Natasha, you see that? Yeah, Black Widow said. Big, ugly outline at your two, Mark. Mark spun around, crescent darts snapping from his hands. They tore through the painted silhouette, the jackal shrieking as its form destabilized and sand spilling from its wounds. Cap, hard right, Mark ordered. Captain America moved on instinct. His shield slammed into empty air that wasn't actually empty, and the impact rang out like thunder, the jackal dissolving mid-air into a cascade of sand. 6 down, Cap said. Keep calling it, Mark. I will, he replied, continuing to frantically scan the battlefield. His head was pounding now. I think we've got a problem. They're spreading out. Of course they are, Stark muttered. A shadow flickered behind Stark. A shadow too big, too menacing. Tony, move! Mark shouted. Stark barely reacted in time. The jackal clipped his armor instead of his spine, sparks flying as Iron Man rocketed backward. Okay, Stark snapped, stabilizing. I officially hate these things more than the hamsters. Falcon, Mark said quickly. High sweep. They're clustering near the overturned buses. Civilians might still be hiding. On it, Sam replied, banking low. Spidey's with me. Copy that, Spider-Man chirped. Mark, buddy, you're gonna have to be my eyes here. Mark clenched his jaw. 2 on your left, 1 above. Above you, kid! Oh, well, yep, that was almost my head. A web snapped upward, followed by a yelp and a cloud of sand raining down. Cap's shield ricocheted through 3 jackals in rapid succession. Hawkeye followed up with an explosive arrow that erased what was left. Good teamwork, Nat said. Keep it tight. Stark's voice cut through the chaos. I've got the reading. Mark twisted out of the way of a snapping jaw, coming up hard behind a chunk of rubble. You've got it? Yeah, Stark said. Same signature. Definitely Amit's staff. It finally stabilized. Where? Mark asked, heart hammering. It's below us. Mark's stomach sank. He swallowed. All right, Stephen, your turn. Stephen inhaled sharply as Mark shifted control to him, and he was snapped to the front. He could feel the armor of Moon Knight shifting and re-knitting itself to accommodate him. Right, yes. Okay, stuff of vomit. Mr. Knight at your service. He forced himself to focus, trying to ignore the screams and inhuman whimpers, the rubble, the scary jackals he had hoped to never see again, snapping through the air. It's right beneath us. Harrow's followers probably wouldn't have just hid it in a basement, so there's got to be... Stephen's eyes scanned the walls and housing facades around them until his eyes locked onto a brick. He quickly jogged towards it and gasped at the intricate carving of a crocodile in it. Oh my god, Stephen whispered in awe. A secret entrance! The air behind him suddenly shivered. Stephen! Look out! Spider-Man shouted, swinging forward. But the warning came too late. Claws tore through Stephen's back, ripping out the other side with a sickening force. He stumbled, blood gushing between his fingers, breath rasping in a strangled gasp. Stephen looked down at the blood. Stunned, disbelief painted across his face. "Oh, bollocks," he whispered. "That's really bad." The painted jackal vanished with a single punch from the Spider Kid, leaving him crumpled. Spidey acted instantly, running towards his side and frantically webbing up the gaping wound left in Stephen, his white suit rapidly turning red. "Oh my god, stay with me, okay? Please, please don't die, okay?" Stephen's vision was blurring, the battlefield turning muffled and distant. He tried to speak, tried to reassure the kid, tried to explain, but familiar darkness crept in, swallowing him whole. "No, no, stay, don't!" Spider-Man's voice cracked. He shook him gently, panic setting in. "Mark, Stephen, I need help here! Anyone, help me! He can't just..." "Moon Knight's down!" Nat's voice cut through, sharp and urgent. Cap's shield shot up, just barely blocking another attack. "Spider-Man, status?" Spider-Man's hands trembled as he shook his head. He's not moving! He... His words faltered. His eyes were wide with raw panic. Stark hovered silently nearby, jaw tight, the only sound the hum of his armor. Across the street, Layla froze mid-fight, wings tense, her eyes locked on Stephen's still form. Her lips parted, but no sound came. She knew they'd be okay. Mark needed to be okay. Conchi wouldn't have it any other way, but the sight still made her sick to her stomach, and stole the words out of her mouth. Spider-Man knelt beside Stephen's still form, hands pressing against his chest, trying in vain to stop the dark tide of blood pooling around him. Stephen's suit was gone, leaving him unmasked. Spider-Man's grip tightened, desperate hands pressing against Stephen's chest. "I'm not letting you go!" "I'm afraid you'll have to, child." The air around them shifted. A chill swept through the battlefield, unnatural and bone deep. Dust hung in the air, suspended, as if the world itself had paused. A deep, commanding, impossibly vast voice rumbled through the street, vibrating in Spider-Man's chest. His head snapped up. In the center of the street, a figure appeared, impossibly tall, wrapped in white and gold. The crescent on his chest gleamed in the light, piercing the gloom. Empty eyes inside a bird-like skull somehow twinkling like twin stars locked onto the two of them, unblinking. It looked like death. Without thinking, Spider-Man shot a web straight at the figure, but the web phased right through it, as though it weren't there, disintegrating before it could even touch the being. The figure's gaze swept the street slowly, even more deliberate, weighty and terrifying until its gaze finally landed on Stephen. Spider-Man's heart stuttered. He pressed closer to Stephen, shaking, grief crushing his chest. He couldn't pull him back from this, couldn't stop what had already happened. Then the being, with no mouth to speak with, spoke again. "Layla, retrieve Amit's staff." Spider-Man's head snapped toward her path. He saw her tense, wings flexing, eyes locking on the command. Without hesitation, she nodded once, grim, and ran past him, past Stephen's still body, toward the underground. The being remained, towering, radiant, and immovable, watching the scene with an intensity that froze even the chaos around him. Then it laughed. The laugh rolled across the street, deep and hollow, echoing off the ruined buildings. It wasn't joyous. It wasn't friendly. It was absolute authority. The kind that made your stomach twist and your bones feel small. Spider-Man's hands shook harder on Stephen's chest, knuckles white. The world felt heavy, every heartbeat pounding like a drum of doom. "My little avatars truly made fine comrades," the being said, voice resonant and terrible. Spider-Man's jaw went slack. Every instinct in his body screamed to run, fight, just do something. but he couldn't move. His chest ached from grief, from helplessness, from awe. Then the being's hand, long and skeletal beneath the golden bands of its armor, swept toward Stephen. White gold light spilled from it, harsh and blinding, like moonlight distilled into a stolid force. Spider-Man flinched, shielding his eyes with one arm, still clutching Stephen with the other. The light pulled, wrapping around Stephen's broken body, illuminating every wound. Stephen's body convulsed violently, a shudder that made Spider-Man's heart twist. His chest heaved in ragged gasps. Blood receded, wounds knitting themselves together under the being's light. The light flared once more, and Stephen's eyes snapped open, bright, hard, burning with focus. His hands flexed, his body moving with the Moon Knight's armor reknitting itself around him. It looked different than before. It wasn't all white like Stephen or Mark's, but had a black mask and accents. Ah, my favorite. Moon Knight's face snapped towards the thing. The air was almost suffocating, Spider-Man and the Avengers around them in surprise. Conchu. Moon Knight nodded. Mierda, me duele todo el cuerpo, pajarito. What the fuck happened? Without answering, the god receded into the shadows, leaving only the faint glow of the crescent above Moon Knight's chest. Jake? Spider-Man asked tentatively. That's you, right? For sure, kid. Tears welled up in Spider-Man's eyes. I thought you guys were dead, and then this thing appeared, and I thought, nah, don't mind that old bird. They're harmless. Jake let out an oomph as Peter tackled the man into a hug. I'm so glad you're okay. You are okay, right? Is Stephen? Calmate, Jake said, awkwardly patting Spider-Man's back. Stephen and Mark are good. They just need a breather. A sudden explosion ripped through the street, the ground shuddering beneath their feet. Dust and rubble shot into the air, and a wave of blinding white light washed over everything. The jackals surrounding them screeched, claws raised in panic, and then, one by one, their forms disintegrated into cascading clouds of sand, swirling and scattering into the wind. Silence followed the shockwave, broken only by the distant ringing of falling debris. Spider-Man and Jake stood frozen for a heartbeat, catching their breath, while the others slowly regrouped. Then, from the dust and rubble, Layla emerged, the broken staff of Amit cradled carefully in her arms. Her wings flexed briefly as she slowed to a stop, eyes scanning the battlefield before landing on Moon Knight. Without another word, she and Jake ran toward each other, and for a moment, the exhaustion, fear, and tension of the battle melted away into a tight and grounding hug. You okay? Layla whispered. Jake let out a small chuckle. Missed out on the fun, querida. Spider-Man hovered a little to the side, still trembling a bit. Layla gave him a small, grateful smile. You did good, Spider-Man. The Avengers, battered but alive, gathered around, sharing quiet nods and tentative smiles. Hawkeye wiped the dust from his face. Cap's shield hung at his side, still ready but lowered. Natasha gave a single nod, acknowledging the end of the fight without needing words, and even Stark floated downward and landed on the ground with a dull thunk. Finally, Tony's voice broke the fragile calm. So, anyone up for pizza? There was a brief pause, then soft chuckles and groans of exhaustion from the group. Jake, still holding the staff, looked over at Spider-Man and Layla, a small smirk tugging at the corners of his mask. Yeah, I know a good place. Spider-Man exhaled, letting the tension drain slightly. I'll take pizza. Definitely pizza. And then there's an emoticon of a fish. It's a very complicated emoticon. Author's notes. You might note that the chapter count is 30 out of 31. Mark and Steven still have something to say. Don't worry, I won't make you guys wait for too long. The author then went back and purged the non-chapters. And also, chapter 1 was a non-chapter and I never counted it, so that's why I get confused sometimes with chapter names. But that is a wrap on chapter 27. I hope you all enjoyed this. I enjoyed it. It's one of the longer ones. And we are really on a wrap up of the story. This is like basically the end of the story. Next chapter is an epilogue, but it's still cool. It's still fun, and I still like this fic a lot. I hope you all enjoy this fic a lot too. Please go show the original author ShizunaRey some love, because this truly is a great passion project that ShizunaRey put a lot of work into. Please leave me a comment. I love reading your comments. They make me so happy. Please leave me specifically hate comments, and I'll shout you out in the next video. Now, you might note, I'm not going to shout out yesterday's video, hate comments, if there were any, because I am recording this before yesterday's video has even been posted. So, if there were any hate comments on yesterday's video, I will shout them out in the next video as well. All that being said, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye, pups!